one question.
Okay.
How can this be adopted for school, and how does it work with existing LMSs like ETL? That's a great question. In a learning management system like Desire to Learn, we have a what's called an LTI connection that enables single sign-on. But at the moment, it's a simple single sign-on connection. So what would happen is OLI would get added to your learning management system as an LTI tool provider, and then you would be able to add a link to your class environment, either on your own with the instructions we have, or with the help of your LMS administrator. And then what would happen is that using that link, you and your students would click the link for the semester and be able to pass seamlessly to your OLI course. Your LMS credentials act as your OLI credentials, and there's no need to sign into OLI. You won't need to create an account, use a password, register for a course, or anything like that. You just move seamlessly from the LMS into the OLI course. And we've been doing that for more than 10 years, and we're happy to help you through the process.
Anything else come up there, Al, in the chat?
No, that was it.
Okay, great. So I want to talk just real briefly about Open Learning Initiative. There's much more to say about OLI than this, but for those of you on the call, which I know many of you are familiar with OLI, but there are several people that are not, so just wanted to real briefly talk about OLIs. OLIs integrating the technology and science of learning with teaching. It's designed to improve student learning through the design of the course. So we talked about the learn by doing activities, and it is a big part of the OLI philosophy that students learn by doing. So that's very important in the platform, as well as giving that immediate and targeted feedback. In addition to that, what OLI brings to the table is the instructor feedback in the way of the learning dashboard, and it is also a great tool to facilitate educational research. All of the items that you saw as I was working through that module all provides data that goes to the instructor. The instructor can alter lesson plans based on the information they get back. Also goes to course design. So as more and more students use this course, we will collect more and more data and be able to improve the course based on that data that we collect. So I want to look at the learning dashboard just briefly here. But in general, the learning dashboard is an aggregate student data at the learning objective and the skill level. The individual student, what you'll see for that is at the learning objective level. So we'll take a look at that. So this is what the learning dashboard looks like for this particular content. We had several modules, and you can see that we have information at the learning objective level. So this is very high-level information that shows you the rough percentages of how many students are performing well and how many students are performing not so well. So you can get some more details here. Each of the learning objectives is divided into sub-objectives, or we call those skills. So here we have the skills listed, and you can get an idea of the percent correct for the number of students. For our different skills here, identify signs for Q and W, calculate change in internal energy, calculate internal energy involving pressure volume work, distinguish between endothermic, exothermic process. We see that where students are having the most difficulty is internal energy involving pressure volume work, which for those sub-objectives seems like that makes sense, that you would probably predict that's where they might be having the most difficulty. So we can drill into that particular skill and look at the specific questions associated with that skill and see, specifically what students answered on the problems associated with that skill. We can also look at individual student data. If you were to click on any of these places, the red, the yellow, or the green, it will give you the students that belong, so to speak, to those dots.
The gray as well.
The gray as well. The gray means that the student has either not done any work or has not done enough work for the system to make an estimate on their learning state for the particular objective. Once you did that, you can click on the individual student, and when you clicked on the individual student, so this is this particular student, and we can see for this particular learning objective, they're doing well, but for this other learning objective, not as well. This also indicates where the work is being done. That's the learning dashboard in a nutshell. I do want to also take a look at the authoring platform, and I'm going to let Hal introduce the authoring platform.
So the authoring platform is still in development. It is a place where we can enable you to use existing content to customize it to your needs, or to build something brand new from the ground up, or something in between, where you start with a foundation of existing content, but then do major modifications and come out somewhere in between with something that is half yours and half something that started as OLI material. It's a WYSIWYG style authoring environment in a mature beta phase, which means that you should expect to encounter bugs, but none of the bugs result in data loss. It's all things like errors will occur that result in inability to preview your content, for example, or your table isn't displaying the way that you were hoping. What we do is we encourage you to respond with a bug report, because we're really responsive to these things as we work through the development process. Let us know about the issues that you're having, and we will get on it right away, because we're trying to work through these final kinks and get all of the final features that we have on the roadmap and the final bugs worked out. So I hope that you guys will use it and submit any feedback that you have as you use it. We're really excited about it because it significantly accelerates the development process, and we're very excited for folks like you to use it. So you should expect to need some support and some training. So we want you to, when you are ready to do some development, please do reach out to us, and we will arrange to work through some training sessions with you and your team. It will take a few hours to walk you through how all of the mechanics work, how some best practices, how the OLI methodology works, and make sure that you guys are comfortable with the tools and the processes and how publication works, so that your team and our team are working well together and everybody's comfortable.
Great. Thanks, Hal.
Sure.
So this is in no way intended to be any kind of detailed training for this, just more to show you the platform more than anything else. This is our chemistry course. So let's say, for instance, that titration page that we just looked at, you wanted to go into that page and make some edits. Maybe you have a video that you have on YouTube that is a kind of walkthrough example of that you want to incorporate into this page. I know many instructors do that, and many students really appreciate that. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to add that after the interactive example, before students get to the activities, just to kind of give you an idea that it's very intuitive and easy to use. So here we want to insert our YouTube video, and then to actually get your video in there, you would just need to copy and paste the source URL from YouTube for that. Again, not really intended to be like a major training on using the platform, but just to give you an idea of what you'll be looking at there. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. You can also make edits to any of the problems as well. You can add additional problems. You can add additional pages. Really, in terms of the ability to edit, it's only limited by your imagination. Yeah, so that's just a quick little preview of the authoring tool. Hal, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, we have a question about
Okay.
whether the system has a CC BY license. The system itself does not. The system is open to use. Anybody who wants to use it to develop their own materials can. But the content all has, most of the content in the Open Learning Initiative most of it has a CC BY 3.0 or a 4.0 share alike international license, but not every single one of them is the same license. So, for instance, here you go. There's Creative Commons Attribution 4.0, slightly different from the one that I just mentioned, from the two that I just mentioned. They all will have their license mentioned in them pretty much, I think, on every page.
Yes, yes, yes. And along those same lines, the text, the majority of the text from the courseware is pulled from OpenStax, so you'll see that attribution on every page. Of course, we've added a lot of the interactivity and activities. We've also pulled some of the activities from OpenStax as well. So if you're familiar with the OpenStax text and are used to using that, a lot of this content-wise will seem very familiar to you. Integration within the classroom, as I mentioned before, it can serve as both textbook replacement and online homework replacement. If you do anything with a flipped classroom or have thought about using that approach, it works really well for that as well. You can look at what the students have done in a given module, in a given unit, and see where they're having the problems, and within the classroom address where they're having the problems, as opposed to starting from the very beginning, which many of the students probably really don't need that in the classroom. Along the same lines, it can inform lecture. There is a per student cost for this, and that will go to our future improvements on the course. We already talked a little bit about LMS integration. Hal, is there anything in addition that you wanted to add with that?
It's important to note that at the moment the LMS integration is just single sign-on, one-way communication. It really is just facilitating the actual access to the materials. We are working on a new platform that is going to be complementing the authoring platform. What that new system is going to look like is going to be a much more comprehensive communication feature set where you'll be able to flow the grades back from your OLI gradebook into your LMS gradebook and have a lot more control in that sense. For now, if you need to move the grades from the OLI gradebook into your LMS gradebook, there is an export feature in our gradebook, so it's just a simple step of exporting into a spreadsheet and then taking that spreadsheet and importing it into your LMS. We have a question. Do we offer different pricing for quarter-based instead of semester? No, this isn't. It isn't time-based pricing. It is based on the amount of content. So because this is a full course, the CBT is the same because it is a full college level 3 to 4 credit course. So it is a $25 course. That fee is, we keep that as low as we possibly can. It's really just meant to keep the power on. It enables us to provide literal technical support, have the servers and answer the emails when people have difficulties. And it's also going to enable us to content upkeep, like Sandy mentioned, but also provide a little bit of development.
Up to the trimester, it would be, it's really not semester, it's a 21 course in the course.
Right.
It's 25 weeks. So if you're on a quarter system, it would be the first students.
Thanks, Hal. So if you'd like to preview the course, as you just saw what we looked at together, if you would just send me an email and let me know that. And the website to go to and sign up for an account is oli.cmu.edu. The authoring platform is on a different website, so you need to sign up for a separate account on echo.oli.cmu.edu. And if you want to use the authoring platform and use the chemistry course within the authoring platform, you can send me an email for that as well. Thank you all. I hope that you enjoyed what you saw and that we'll be hearing from you. Are there any additional questions or feedback that anyone would like to provide?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey, this is Julia Chamberlain at UC Davis. I was just trying to clarify, this is an awesome resource. I'm very interested in it. I'm teaching first quarter of Gen Chem in our winter quarter, which starts in January. And it's just one section, but it's about 400 students. And what I'm trying to figure out is whether I could adapt the first semester, sort of remove the parts we don't teach in our first quarter. How much, what would be the investment there, or if time, is it easy to sort of chop it down to just the first quarter of Gen Chem? How much time would I need to invest there, or is that really something for a later, for down the road, the following year? What are your thoughts?
Rearranging the syllabus is very, very easy. So that's not even anything that you need to go into the editor for. So for instance, if there's a module that you're not going to use, so you don't want it there, you can do that outside of the editor, and it
in the delivery environment.
Right, in the delivery environment, you just pick which modules you want in there. If there's maybe a module or a unit from the second semester that you want to incorporate into the first semester, that also is a very easy thing to do. On a page-by-page level, that's where you're going to need to go into the authoring platform, which still is not that significant of a thing to go in and delete pages. A little bit more time involved with that than just the rearranging of the modules. So not exactly sure just how much changing around you'd want to do, but I hope that answer kind of gives you an idea of what you might be looking at.
Yes, that absolutely helps. Thank you so much.
Great. You're welcome. Anything else in the chat, or if anyone wants to jump on by voice, that works too. Okay, well, great. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to share this with you. We will have the both the recording of the webinar and the PowerPoint from the webinar available to you. And I look forward to getting your emails and requests to review this material for yourself. Thank you all and have a great day.